Hi, I'm Ed Marsh. I first came to NTC as a recruit for boot camp in June of 1976, almost 50 years ago. At that time, I think it was 10 weeks in a special company, a drill company, because the guy came in buddy systems with had been in the band and stuff, and so he volunteered us to go into the special company. I'm like, you idiot, you're not supposed to volunteer us for anything. You know, that's what the Navy stands for, never again volunteer yourself. But that was actually a good deal because we got out of a lot of the galley duty and service week stuff that the regular companies had to do. What NTC really represents to me is sort of the gateway to adulthood. I'm from a small town in Colorado, outside of Colorado Springs. It was my first time away from home, and I suspect, like a lot of young men who come here scared, full of dreams and hopes and ambitions and anticipation, don't know what to expect, and they're yelling at you. And so when I come here now, almost 50 years later, I can really reflect on what it was like to feel that anticipation, had my whole life in front of me, and think back on how it's turned out since then, and the Navy provided me with a lot. So I joined the Navy to become a photographer. That was my real passion. I wasn't ready to go to college. Went through boot camp and then went to Pensacola, Florida for photography school. After completing photography school, then stationed on Guam. Got to do a lot of really interesting stuff, aerial photography, and was embedded with the Marines on an amphibious assault exercise, which was crazy. 3 days and nights in the jungle. That was amazing. Stayed there for 3 tours, and then I came back to NTC. So at that time I was an E5, Petty Officer Second Class, and so came back to NTC. I was a very dedicated skydiver in those days, and that's why I wanted to come back to San Diego, because of the great weather and the skydiving community here. I was assigned back here to NTC in the photo lab under Chief Sturley, Fred Sturley, great guy, became a lifelong friend, almost like an older brother to me. To be here as a scared 18-year-old who doesn't know anything about the Navy or about life, and then to come back 5 years later with kind of the perspective of having been out in the fleet. You can see all of those young recruits and see yourself in them and see their fear and hopes and expectations, and kind of understand, what they're going through, and kind of chuckle at them, at their earnestness and naivete. Well, your guys are going to get that drummed out of you. I love coming back to Liberty Station and walking around and seeing the old buildings that were, this command was here and this command was there, walking by the old photo lab. The nostalgia, as I mentioned, this was my gateway to adulthood, and I, came here almost 50 years ago as an 18-year-old who didn't know anything about life. And now doing photography again in my semi-retirement, coming back here is like full circle back to where it all started for me. The Navy gave me that opportunity to become a photographer, and now I can re-entered that with all of the enthusiasm I once felt, back when I was 18. And I come here for inspiration to reconnect with that.